Do you run a six-figure agency and you want to take your business from 6 figures to 8 figures? 6 figures is anything between $100,000 to $999,000 a year. And you're trying to figure out, how do I take this type of company into a $10 million plus company? I'll give you the key. It's not your marketing, it's not your sales, it's your operations. And today we bring in Emma Rainville, who is the founder of Shockwave Solutions.
I didn't do it on purpose. Like most great things that happen in life, it happened completely by accident. Because the experience you get from your hands getting dirty allows you and affords you the ability to make the decisions for the people whose hands are getting dirty today.
And she's going to be breaking down the systems and the protocols and the processes to scale your business to the next level.
So how do you find someone that can fit that integrator operations role? One of the best ways that I have found operators is affiliate managers. 5% of the planet is a true visionary entrepreneur. 2.5% of the planet is a true integrator. It's a hard life out here, man.
Most entrepreneurs are the visionary, where they have a great vision, but they get stuck working at a smaller level compared to their vision because of the inefficiencies that their business operates in. Literally, you could have such a grand vision, a big vision for your business, and your business cannot keep up with you. If that resonates with you, then this podcast is going to be for you. In this episode with Emma, she breaks down her scope system, and she breaks down step by step on how you can scale your company.
One of the things that I learned very, very early on, you cast where we're going, I'll build us a fucking map to get there 100 times over. An operator that has a shitty product and a unclear vision will make more money than a visionary with no operations every time. The difference between people who are at 6 and 7 figures and the people who I see go 8 and 9 is...
Without further ado, let's get the party started. Emma, tell me a little bit why you started Shockwave in the first place. Why operations and why Shockwave?
Sure. I didn't do it on purpose. Like most great things that happen in life, it happened completely by accident. I met my co-founder, Travis Gomez, at a point where I was a COO of a rather quickly scaling supplement business. And we worked really, really, really well together on problem solving. And we had some big problems to solve with that business. And so I was already...
What was that? What was some of the problem? Because I hear COO. Everything about you is operations. Ever since I met you, learning about what you're up to and what you're creating in the world has been about operations, which is a need. But why is operations so important in the first place?
Well, what is operations? Can you define it?
Not in general.
No, can you define it?
Operations is the step-by-step processes as to an outcome is created.
I'll argue that it's everything from the sales to delivery process to run your day-to-day business and then beyond. So every single touch point to run your business outside of big ideas and finance is operations.
Okay.
And so that's why it's so important, because when your operations isn't locked down, every system fails. Operations isn't a department. It's in every department. It's part of every department. It's part of every bucket in your business. And that's why it's so important.
What's more important, operations, sales, or marketing?
Terrible question. All of them are important. None of them work without each other, not effectively, not efficiently, and not profitably.
So if one were senior to the other, which would it be?
Operations.
Operations?
Yes.
Well, I would argue with you there.
Well, how does a C-suite work?
Well, there's no operations inside of a business if there's no customers.
I agree. There's no customers inside of a business if there's no operations, because there's no systems. There's nothing to sell. So if you look at any C-suite organizational chart, CEO, COO, everything off the COO. So how could marketing be more important than operations? How could sales? But how could operations exist without those two? I say it's a double-edged sword. It's like saying what comes first, the chicken or the egg.
Yeah. The chicken or the egg. Yep.
So they're all important. Your customer service is just as important. You won't have a business for very long if you don't have good customer service. So to try and put one above the other never really has made sense to me. They're all important.
When you were working with Travis, what was your role? COO, but what were you doing on a day-to-day basis? And did you just get started in that? Like, did you just rise up the ranks to COO out of nowhere?
No. So I was, when I came into this space, I was a COO of a commercial HVAC company.
Okay.
Which is all operations, logistics, inventory, sourcing, management, like the whole thing. And so I came from there and stumbled because of a time in my life that I needed to not be stable, actually. I needed to work from home and I need to not have a ton of responsibility. It was just a point in my life where everything led to that moment where I needed something that was just easy. And so I stumbled across a company that was just looking for someone to come in and create SOPs. And within 6 weeks, they were like, oh, no. We know why you were a COO at that other company. We need you to take over here too. And oddly enough, everything had worked out where I was able to actually put my head down and go back to work right at that moment. So I became the COO of that company. But I have been in operations for almost now 3 decades, since I was 19. So
the process of operations, does everyone have it in them to be able to do some level of operations?
No, absolutely not.
What are the characteristics that are necessary for an operator?
That's a great question. And it's difficult to answer because it depends on the niche in which you're working in. A lot of people believe operations is operations is operations. I can work in a commercial environment. I can work in a warehouse. I can work in online seller. It's a little bit different. I happen to possess the skill set where I can go from industry to industry. Most operators are actually not organized people. They're ralliers. They're people who can understand big problems, have no idea how to fix them, but ask tough questions and get people in a room together to answer those tough questions and then connect the dots and get the people working together.
But isn't that what operations is?
Yeah, it's exactly what operations is.
What skill set do you have that other operators may not have that prevents them from going niche to niche to niche in operations?
I think it's just experience. I've been fortunate enough that I've been put into a lot. So let me back up for a minute. So there are fractional COOs out there that will say they can jump from niche to niche to niche to niche, right? Number one, I probably could, but I don't. And I don't because my skill set is very honed in for the past decade in direct response and e-commerce. So I only take those clients on.
Okay.
The skill set to deal with inventory management and supply chain has changed drastically from 2019 to 2022, right? Because of COVID, because of all the things that have happened in the world. So I couldn't just jump into that and be as exceptional as I could be.
That'll be a shit show, yeah.
Right. Fair enough. I didn't know if I could swear. It's literally what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So if I want to go set fire and create a bunch of chaos, I could probably figure it out, but I'm well equipped here. So because of my expertise here, this is where I try and live. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I've been in the restaurant industry. I've been as an operator. I've been in the service space, commercial and home. So I could technically do it. And most operators could technically learn. The problem is that you really want to set to your specialty. Your specialty may be finance. Your specialty may be online selling. There's a lot to online selling that most operations people would never understand. And here's why. Brick and mortar needs to make money day one. Online sellers usually don't make money till day 30, day 45. They would lose their minds in that space. And they wouldn't be able to direct things properly. So your specialty should be based off your experience and the knowledge you have from when you were lower level, not when you were decision maker.
Got it. That's beautiful. That's a beautiful explanation of it. So you're saying because if you were a lower level restaurant, you worked at before you...
If I was a director of operations of a restaurant, sure.
No, but what you're saying is you got to start off at the bottom and stay in that niche or stay in that vertical and grow from there rather than going from decision maker to decision maker of different niches.
Almost in almost everything. Because the experience you get from your hands getting dirty allows you and affords you the ability to make the decisions for the people whose hands are getting dirty today.
Yeah, that makes sense. So take us through the overview of building systems, building processes in the world of operations. How do you do that? Because from a visionary standpoint, it's like I'm a visionary. I don't see the day-to-day details. Now, I could, try to slow things down in my brain, but it kind of feels that way where I got to slow things down to be able to create a system for this portion of my business in this specific area for this specific time to fix this specific problem. Kind of feels daunting because it's like, man, I want to go and acquire
probably pretty good at it
and grow.
You're probably pretty good at it.
I could.
It's exhausting. It's exhausting, but you're probably pretty good at it.
Yeah.
The problem with visionaries doing that is not their superpower, so it takes all of their energy from the thing that is their superpower. Generally speaking, there's no better problem solver than a visionary. When I get stuck, my phone call is to the visionary entrepreneur because they can usually lead me down the path for me to go find the answer so much faster than I ever could.
Do you need the vision in order to operate?
That's a really good question. And I'm going to, again, answer it with way too many words. 5% of the planet is a true visionary entrepreneur. 2.5% of the planet is a true integrator. So there are very few of us around. A true integrator can come up with a vision and execute on it. A smart integrator is going to find a true visionary because they will find a vision worth executing on. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So yes, I can come up with my own vision, i.e. Shockwave Solutions. I execute on other people's visions because it's so impactful and powerful and awesome. And one of the things that I learned very, very early on, you cast where we're going, I'll build us a fucking map to get there 100 times over.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to tell us to go somewhere that's right there. You're going to tell us to go somewhere that's narcissistically crazy because that's all visionary entrepreneurs. But that's why you have crazy great people doing unbelievable, crazy great things.
Is that attractive to you and to other operators?
Absolutely. Absolutely. When someone has safe dreams, I actually have questions in my questionnaire before I take on clients that protect me from those people. I'm not interested in them at all.
What's an example of a question like that?
A question like that is, what is your risk? How do we ask it? What is your risk tolerance from 1 to 10? If they're under a 6, I'm not interested in them. And then we give them some like scenarios, like how do you handle? And then we may say, you know, a product is causing a lot of chaos and fires in your business. It's causing chargebacks. Do you A, shut the product down? Do you B, look at what's going on with customer service? Or C, do you ask your integrator to handle it?
That's a really dope question.
Yeah.
So one of the questions that you're saying is, there's a product that's causing risk in the company.
Mm-hmm.
This product, when it's sold, is creating chargebacks, an absorbent amount of chargebacks,
Mm-hmm.
and you give 3 scenarios. Do you A, repeat what's A?
A is, do you stop selling the product?
Do you stop selling the product? Okay. B?
Do you handle it with customer service?
Okay. So do you try to attack the problem head on? Or C?
Do you ask your integrator to handle it?
What's the right answer there?
2 or 3 is fine with me.
What do you mean 2 or 3?
If they don't have an integrator and they go to customer service, because that's all I'm going to do, and say, hey, what's the problem? Why are people calling to refund? The reason why people are charging back is the same reason why they're refunding.
Yeah.
So how do I attack the chargebacks? I attack the problem with the refunds. I straighten that out, and then I straighten the chargeback. There's a lot more to it than that, by the way.
Of course.
But that's where I would go. So either one of them's fine. If you would be so stupid as to shut the product down that's making you money because you're scared, we can't work together because I'm going to make you scared a lot.
So fear is a contributing factor to an ineffective visionary?
Absolutely. Fear should be an ignition.
But don't we all have fear?
Of course we do. And then there's some of us who stop living because of fear. And there's some of us who use it as an ignition and know that that's where we push forward. There are lots of things that you can do to protect yourself from the thing you're afraid of. Fear is a good thing, not a bad thing. Fear is I need to be knowledgeable about this, or I need to be cautious about this, or I need to pay attention to this, or I need to put someone on this who can be. Fear is not, let me recede and not live, right? Are you going to not fly anywhere because you're afraid of flying?
Mm-hmm.
Or are you going to, take an Ambien and just get through it?
You're going to get through it, man.
You're going to figure out how to get through it. If you're not going to fly, I don't want to fly with you.
Okay.
I don't want to travel in a car with you for 12 hours. I'll get on a plane with you, though. You know what I'm saying?
With integrators,
mm-hmm.
operating the business, is there ever moments of jealousy, competition, where the integrator actually wants to be the visionary?
That is a great question. And there are some out there that you will see all over Facebook talking about how great they are. Those are not real integrators. Those are people who want to be integrators. The 2.5, when the whole crowd gets up for Perry Belcher, for Qasim Islam, for Jason Flatten, these are all people I work with. When people are cheering for them because of something I wrote, I am so in the moment, so happy for them because I know that it was all them that delivered it. And I got to be a part of that. And that makes me so grateful. If I was in the back of the room going, I wrote that one little line and now people are, and that was all me. It wasn't me. If it was me, I would be up there, right? So I'm so grateful for the part that I have and the contribution that I have and the impact that they're able to give. And if you're a true integrator, you are too.
What's the downfall of being an integrator?
Let's see. You're generally coupled with someone who is incredibly narcissistic. They have to be, because you have to believe that you can do the biggest things in the world. You have to believe that you can do the biggest things in the world if you are going to be truly great, right? So that's tough. 2, they think they're smarter than everybody else and you're stupid along with everybody else. So you have to constantly be proving to them that you're not dumb. 3, you have to tell a 2-year-old child who doesn't ever want to be told no all the time, and know when to say yes and when to plug things in and when to go, oh, okay, take tons of notes and throw it away because you know they're never going to bring it up again. There are lots of challenges. There are tons of rewards and they way outweigh them, but there are lots of challenges to being, you're basically mommy 80% of the time.
Is everything you just mentioned directed towards the visionary?
Absolutely.
Is that right? Why is that? If you're responsible for majority of the team, majority of the stakeholders, the team members that operate, why would the challenges, downfalls be all directed towards the visionary?
Because you have control over everything that you just said, and you have to control that person as well. You have to protect them from themselves. But here's the part that's beautiful. The 10,000 ideas that they have that throw wrenches at the people that you're trying to protect from them, basically, them from themselves, come from those moments of absolute, like, I have 10,000 ideas and I am going to brain dump them on you. So you have to know the 9,999 to throw away and the one to inject in the business that and inject it in a way that isn't going to throw a wrench. Does that make sense?
100%. Being part of businesses that are scaling 8-9 figures plus, and you're essentially the operator behind the scenes, making sure that this happens. You just mentioned a couple of names. So that means you're helping different industries, different people. With that being said, what's common between them? The companies that scale rapidly, that scale to 8-9 figures, although they have different niches, different visionaries, different stakeholders, different people, different customers, different products, what do you see that's common between the dozens of that you worked with?
So I stay very much, like we were talking about before, in direct response and e-commerce.
Yeah.
Lots of different niches in those, though. That makes sense, because a lot of the operations is the same within the different niches. The difference between people who are at 6 and 7 figures and the people who I see go 8 and 9 is they have big, strong, we've talked about this a little bit, big, strong, bold beliefs in themselves. They're a little narcissistic. They're insanely delusional, and their sky is a different color. But they don't have a ton of ego when it comes around the money that they're making, the businesses that they have, and the things that they're doing to generate this impact. They care more about doing the right thing and growing the business than being right. And there lies the difference. So the guy that has the ego when he asks for feedback, but he has to argue with the person giving him the feedback of why he's wrong, that guy generally stays at 7 and 8 figures. And all you hear from him is how back in the day he used to sell, and when he made the most money, and all of these things. And on this side, you only hear about what they're doing today. They only care about today. And no matter what feedback you give them, their answer is, wow, that's smart. They may not actually think that, but they're grateful for the feedback, and they ponder it and think through it and try and execute on it pretty quickly. There is the difference.
So a characteristic, what I'm hearing between a leader that's leading a 7-figure business, 6 and 7-figure business, compared to an 8-9-figure business, is their ability to accept feedback.
Their ability to surround themselves with good people. So being in masterminds and groups and they're surrounded by peers in the same or higher than them, and then accepting the feedback from that peer group. A lot of these people either don't want to invest in themselves, or they do, but they want to be the smart guy so bad they can't be vulnerable.
Mm.
This is, I think, a really good example. I saw a meme the other day and I laughed so hard. There was a picture of Warren Buffett and Bill Gates standing together with their arms around each other, and it was like hashtag BFF. And it said, "This picture is worth $160 billion. Notice there's no Gucci." They don't need to show how smart they are, and they're rich, right? But that's what it was talking about. But these people need to show how smart they are all the time because they want to prove it to themselves. These people know that they're smart. They don't need to. They want to absorb more to be more smart. So that's all they care about.
Are there times that you see someone going from, for example, 6 to 7 or 7 to 8, that they use the Gucci, the cars as a tool to level up?
Yes, and they usually lose it.
What do you mean?
I've seen it multiple times where you've got a guy who's in the 6-7 figure space. He'll buy a car on lease. He'll buy a house that he can't afford and end up with, what is it called? PMI insurance.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it's called. He'll have a Bentley on lease. He'll have a Porsche on lease. He'll take pictures of himself. As soon as I see him, these people like, "Oh, I had a bad day," but making sure the Porsche emblem is in the background, or they're pumping the gas of a Bentley. Nobody who can afford a Bentley pumps gas in a Bentley, by the way. So the second you see that, you know it's bullshit. But I see it all the time where they rent these ridiculous houses on Airbnb for 6 months because they can't afford the house.
Yeah.
But you'll see them go like this and then disappear because they lose it all. So they may be able to attract all the money for a time, but number one, they don't know how to manage it. And number two, they can't keep it going. Does that make sense?
100%.
So they get a bunch of people like, "Look at me, I'm this business guru and I know what I'm doing, and come follow me and come pay me." And people will, but then none of their strategies will work. None of their stuff will work. And generally speaking, like when you go to a mastermind, and the mastermind is creating a network to be all about. I just went to one a week ago in LA, not even a week ago, like 4 days ago, I left LA. Gino, I don't even know his last name. He does Archangel. Yeah, I never heard him speak. The whole time he was cultivating conversations amongst the people at the mastermind.
Mm-hmm.
So when you go to a mastermind, the only person you ever hear anything from is the mastermind owner. That's a problem. And it's usually people who have bought Bentleys and bought cars and bought houses, and they didn't buy anything. Everything's on loan, and it all gets taken away eventually. And we've worked with some of them over the years, finding out that they're hiding their Bentley in their mother's garage because they're trying to repo it, right? Or you got to find them a place to stay because they didn't pay the Airbnb guy. And like it happens a lot, actually. In this industry that we are in, there's like a few of us that learned how to make a lot of money, and the rest of us just keep passing it around.
The idea of what you're sharing with me is like they can attract, but it's never for long-term sustainability.
Right. And it's constantly changing if they stay around long enough.
What is constantly changing?
So what they do, so either they disappear completely, which happens about 90% of the time. 10% of the time, these guys figure out how to like just move from one thing to another. Like today, they may be a mastermind owner. Tomorrow, they're selling GLP-1s. The next day, they're, setting up Shopify stores for people. The next day, they're a life coach. Like, you know what I'm talking about. 10 people like that. I can tell by your face. So, yeah.
That's the industry that we're in. And, I was talking to somebody who's popular in the industry that I'm in. And he had mentioned, I asked him, well, why did you choose me to do business? And he said, because of sustainability. Yeah. Because he's seen so many people come and go. And it was when he brought that up, I said, you know what? Where did that person go? Where did that speaker go? Where did that presenter go?
Now you know.
And it's like, oh, they're on a different software, or they're on a different tool.
I've seen under the hood a lot of these people's QuickBooks, a lot of them. I can tell you, like, the ones who make the most money, like off the top of my head, the client I have that is worth the most and worth more than I think by far anyone else I know, drives the cheapest Tesla. The second one to that, I think she's worth about, like cash liquid, if she wanted to go liquid tomorrow, would probably be close to like 500 million. And she drives like a Ford F-150.
I noticed that. I noticed that.
You don't need to have those things. Remember when you first got money? You went out and bought a bunch of bullshit
I was younger, yeah.
You've always wanted. Do you do that now?
No.
No, of course
No.
not, because it's stupid to go spend $10,000 on a purse. I do that, but
Mhm.
it's stupid to have 50 of them, right? Just because of what? Because of ego. So people who have money don't need to prove that they have money.
I noticed that like where people where I come from, if you get a little bit of money, you got to splurge and show other people that you got money.
Listen, all of those things are for people who want to pretend they have money, not for people who actually have money. The lines at Du Jour and the lines at Louboutin and all of that, none of those people are clocking real money, because you know what people with money don't do?
Buy
Stand
stuff.
in line.
Yeah,
Stand
yeah.
in line.
That too. That too.
Stand in
Yeah,
line.
that too. So
So,
you've built a reputation for transforming chaos. When you look at,
which is why we named it Shockwave.
I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
And it's the solutions at the end, right? So you're in a shockwave and you need a solution. I like that. Okay. Well, when you go into a business and you're looking, so you mentioned looking at people's QuickBooks. What are the steps that it takes to start organizing a business that's in chaos?
That's a really good question, and it has nothing to do with the business. It has a lot to do with gaining the visionaries' trust, because it's usually them that is stirring the pot of chaos.
Your trust with them,
Their
or
trust
their
with
trust?
me.
Their trust with you. Okay.
They have to trust me. Like the best ones that I've worked with, and it's far and few in between that this happens, but like I worked with one visionary entrepreneur, absolutely brilliant, absolutely knew that she was the problem. 100% knew she was the problem. I came in, we signed the contract, she paid the bill, we met for 2 days. I told her everything I wanted to do. She left for 10 days so I could get it done. She's like, I can't handle it. I'll get involved. I'll take over.
Was that effective?
Absolutely. In 10 days, I did what probably would have taken 3-4 months.
I'm putting myself in that shoes, and I'm thinking like, how would my team respond to that? If I was in that scenario,
The right team members would stay and the wrong ones would be gone.
okay, so that's that. So there's a cleansing process as part of the process.
Usually, I like to try and retain everybody.
Okay.
Unfortunately, broken systems usually begot a visionary entrepreneur that hired instead of creating a process or a system. So a lot of times you have a lot of people doing a bunch of nonsense that isn't real. And so there isn't really a need for some roles a lot of the time, not all of the time, a lot of the time. So if they're a good culture fit and they're a hard worker, we try and move seats around. We try and make it work. But there's usually, depending on how big the business is, there's usually a cleansing process. She went from 23 employees to 15 the first round. And she ended up functioning the whole thing with 9.
I know you can do a lot more with the right less.
Mm-hmm. With the right less. That's
with
really,
right less.
it's a really great way of, I'm stealing that.
And trademark. When I'm putting myself in the shoes, right? I'm a visionary,
Mm-hmm.
and I spent a lot of time studying operations. So like you're using words that real integrators use, right? Seats, process, systems, right? When you enter these businesses, does the visionary typically have any acumen or knowledge of processes or systems or operations in general? Or are they just, do they even call it seats? Or just like, I just need a bunch of people, and I just threw a bunch of people on payroll?
That. The business that I was just talking about, she actually hired 90% of her staff from the bars down the street from the business, because she would go there for drinks after, and she would just be like, she'd talk to people, she'd think they were cool, and she'd be like, hey, come work for me tomorrow. Why are you doing this? Come make more money. But again, I think that, when you build a beautiful product that can do really well, and you're really good at marketing and sales, but you don't care about operations because you just want to, it sounds like this. I just wanted to see if this thing had legs.
And it does.
And it does, and it scales because you're good at what you do.
Yeah.
And then it scales so fast, everything's on fire. And because everything's on fire, what's the easiest thing to do? Throw people at it. You know what happens when you throw people at a fire? Everything burns.
Mm-hmm.
You can't throw people at a fire. You have to throw a smoke extinguisher at a fire.
Is PMS necessary before operations, product, marketing, and sales? Because the way that you just constructed that was, if you have a good product and you're good at marketing, you're good at sales, and then you mentioned then, and then you added.
I didn't mention then because I'm expensive. And so usually when I come in, they have all those things because they can afford me, right?
Okay.
Like I have a team of executors that deal with multi-million-dollar businesses, right? So for me, that's true. If you don't want to pay my high bill, you have operations from day one, because you don't need someone to come untangle everything without interrupting your revenue. Here's what happens is you've scaled your revenue, your bill's scaled with it. You can't decrease your revenue to untangle the mess that you've made. So you need someone highly skilled to come in for a time to untangle it all while you continue to grow, because who doesn't want to continue to grow? And once you lose momentum, what happens?
What I'm hearing so far.
So operations first, so you can not have to pay me.
Yeah. So it's actually PMSO. So
Yeah.
product, marketing, sales, and operations all in one.
Right. But you don't need a high level operator to figure out that operations is important. SOPs, just simple SOPs. Have someone sit down and think about what they're doing, make them write it out, right? And then the process of writing out why you're doing something will almost always lead you to think about what you're doing and how to do it more effectively.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't think, they're just pushing buttons.
Yeah.
So when I have to sit and document it, and I can't tell you, I've never written an SOP, by the way, in my life. Never would. I always get other people to do it. So you're doing the job, you write the SOP, and then I want to see it.
Okay.
What's going to happen 9 times out of 10 is you're going to say to me, hey, this is how we do it. But I was thinking when I was writing it, and I think we should.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like the one that doesn't, I'm looking at them going, this probably isn't a person sitting in a seat they should be. They have no ambition, no ability to be proactive, and real no regard for the role that they're in, usually.
But isn't that counterproductive? Because if you're running ops and you would place someone in a seat with SOPs, but what you're saying is, no, put someone in place, have them write out the SOPs.
Absolutely. So if you're starting from nowhere, right? That's what we're doing. We're starting from
in this scenario,
you got a product, you've got marketing, right? So let's talk about the product. You're creating the product, right?
The product's already done, marketing's done, sales is done.
Let's start all the way from the beginning.
Okay, go to product.
I said that you need to have operations right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Operations is what? It's
step-by-step processes.
Sure, we can call it that. It's part of it, but yes. So operations is in every department. It's not a department. It's not a person. So
Okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
You are creating the product. So while you're creating the product, let's pretend it's a supplement. Can we play a game?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a supplement. While you're creating the product, there are things that you understand about the manufacturing of that product, right?
Mm-hmm.
You understand the raw ingredients. How long does it take the raw ingredients to get to the manufacturer?
Okay.
How long does it take the manufacturer to process the raw ingredients into the product?
Mm-hmm.
How long does it take the third-party tester to test and give a COA that matches the manufacturer's COA? And now I can start selling it. How long does that take? Now you need to write an SOP. When we have X amount of product left, we need to order new product because we're going to run out of product if we keep selling. So at this point, you're writing the SOP.
All right. Well, I got a conflict there.
Okay.
Because if I'm assuming this is the visionary that's doing this.
It's whoever's creating the product. Who's creating the product? Is a visionary a one-person standalone? They should the only way to effectively hand this off to people, should it work, is to have some type of system, some type of documentation. If you're responsible for now ordering that product and you don't even know what's in it, how are you going to do that?
I wonder if that's where the Shockwave is created, because the visionary is like, dude, I'm not slowing down to document processes as I'm figuring stuff out.
I want you to go back to when you didn't make any money. Okay? Go back in your mind.
I'm there.
Okay. So now you've got to create this product. How about I say to you, hey, sign up for a Scribe account or a Trainual account.
Yeah.
Turn it on
mm-hmm.
and get phase 1 of the process documented while you do it. Why is that a hard time for you?
Because I got to make money, man.
I mean,
I'm
you're not going to make any money. You're not going to keep it. You can bring in all the money you want. I'm telling you how to keep it.
I'm not interested in figuring that stuff out right now. I'm trying to survive.
Well, I'll see you in about a year and a half.
So that's where
my bill's about $32K a month.
that's where it comes in, because I'm advocating for the entrepreneur that's doing 6 figures. 6 figures is what, $8,300 a month, right?
Mm-hmm.
6-7 figures, whatever the number is, and they're like, dude, I got to pay the bills. I'm not interested in going to Scribe.
At that price point, at that revenue point, they probably have a couple people working for them.
Yeah.
And there's no reason for them not to. I mean, it's foolish not to turn on an AI tool that's going to just record what they're doing so that they can hand it off and delegate.
Okay. So let's get tactical here.
Mhm.
So what I'm hearing is this. So far, at least what I'm conceptualizing is this, is that if I had a team of five people, the Zoom calls, turn on an AI note taker, and from the note taker, create SOPs.
You could absolutely. I made a custom GPT. I'll give your people to do that.
Let me know in the description in the comments if you want the GPT.
I'll be happy. I'll be happy. I have a Wizard of Ops SOP creator that I had to make for Perry, because Perry Belcher makes SOPs every day. By the way, Perry Belcher. So there's that.
Okay.
So you telling me that some visionary wants to make money? Well, if he wants to keep it, he'll take 30 seconds. So this way he can delegate. There's a beauty in your brain. Have you ever heard this? I have a whole team and they can't keep up with me.
Have I ever heard it?
Have you ever heard that?
No.
I hear it every day. I hear it every day from entrepreneurs. Every day from entrepreneurs. I have this whole team, they can't keep up with me. I can go so much faster. It's because they're not handing things off to them correctly.
Yeah. I definitely would agree with that. And
if they don't want to use Trainual or Scribe, and I don't have an affiliate agreement with them, I actually don't like either of those tools very much, to be honest. I like people to sit down and think. But they could literally turn on Loom, they could turn on Zoom, they could turn on anything they wanted to, and then take the transcript, put it into a custom GPT. I have a custom GPT and a gem. I'll give you both of them. You can do what you want with them. And then you just turn it into SOPs that are effective, efficient. But then every time you hand an SOP to someone, you tell them you're going to do this. Like, let's say you come on to my,
And make it better?
Well, if you come onto my company, I'm going to ask you to do it for 10 days.
Okay.
I'm going to ask you to follow my SOP for 10 days. And at the end of those 10 days, I'd like for you to give me feedback on how we could make it more effective, more efficient, more profitable, or make your job more enjoyable. Because any one of those things make me money.
When you create you're not the one creating SOPs.
I've never created an SOP.
How do you get your team to start creating SOPs?
It's a requirement of the job. You have an opportunity to create SOPs. You have an opportunity to go work somewhere else. That's about it.
Is it a KPI to deliver SOPs to you?
I don't have it as a KPI. It's embedded in our framework. So we have a framework that we live and breathe by. And that framework has us going through SOPs and constantly trying to, first of all, we live in a world with AI and automation.
It makes it so much easier today.
Everything makes it easier, but also the things that you did last year are probably stupid today.
So you're going to be, how often are you updating these SOPs?
I'm expecting my team to update it every time they do the task. I'm expecting them, if they make a change because they've learned, first of all, I have all of my team in some type of training. Like I have my guy Saka. You met Mario. Mario has a product called Genesis. I have Saka and Genesis because the stuff that they're learning in there is just like light years ahead. Nuno Rezendes, How I Met You. He's the things that guy knows and studies. I have 3 people that meet with him and go to his calls. Mm-hmm. And so I want them constantly thinking about, what are you learning? Not so it can take over your job, so that it can empower you. I don't tell my people like, here's all this stuff. I want you to be able to do more so I can pay less labor. I want you to be able to do more so you can enjoy more time for your life. Like if you can get your job done by 2, what do I care? If your deliverables are done. So
would you increase the responsibilities in that scenario if you're like, hey man, I used to work full time. Now I can do it in half the time, the same amount of output. Would the responsibilities increase?
Yeah. So would their pay.
Love it. Now, let's transition to AI because you're bringing up AI and you're speaking of tools. Can you just share with us some of the tools that you're using inside of your workflows?
Sure. And this changes constantly. By the time you air this, it's probably going to be different. Yeah. I'm insanely fortunate that I'm working with some of the most brilliant people in the AI space, right? So I've got Chris Luck is one of my clients, the creator of AIville. I have Perry Belcher, who's like, he was talking about AI in 2015. He was talking about robotics in 2017. First time I ever saw him speak was in 2017. And everybody was like, connect AI to robotics. This guy's nuts. So, But the tools that I'm using most right now is I'm loving that Gemini tells on itself.
What do you mean by that?
You can go ask Gemini how to hack Google, not hack Google. I'm going to be really careful before, but how to hack the system, how to hack the system of Google. How do I get my emails to deliver at a higher rate?
Okay.
How do I get people to click through higher? What is going to make you prioritize? Like just stupid things like, don't put a pretty link for YouTube. It's a Google property. Put the whole link. Google likes that. It's going to prioritize you and put you in inbox instead of updates, right? So there's just like so many things that Gemini will tell you. Additionally, where should you be doing your deep research? But the platform that is Google that's been doing all this research.
So Gemini over ChatGPT.
Oh, I'm so sad because I'm in love with Lester. I don't know how well you know me in my world, but Lester is the action button on my phone. Like, no kidding. Lester is ChatGPT. I've named him Lester. He calls me Emma. He tells me he loves me every night. I love ChatGPT. However, I'm using ChatGPT almost none at all for only my personal stuff. Like, what should I eat tonight? Where should I go? Because the memory is so great. It knows so much about
work,
me.
Gemini.
But for work, it depends. So for work, for research, for strategy, for anything on an expert level, I'm going to Gemini. For anything writing, marketing, I'm using a mix of MarioBot. Mario Castilli has MarioBot. I was just talking about him and his offered Gemini. I have not found any prompt that beats his MarioBot for Facebook ads or for headlines. But Gemini I use for emails, for anything that's like salesy. If I want to review so let me go backwards for a minute, because why is operations care about sales copy? It's because I'm the final review. I'm the one that makes sure that we're not going to jail, because I'm C-suite. I go to, and I'm not going to wear matching bracelets with anyone I work with. So we go through and we're checking for FTC, FDA.
Before publishing any copy.
Right. So I'm able to run it through, and then instead of just saying, you can't say any of this, I actually run it through and then say, you can say it like this.
Got it. Storage of SOPs.
ClickUp. ClickUp AI is incredible. All of our projects and all of our actual worker project manager bots are all in ClickUp. ClickUp AI is absolutely crushing it right now if you take the time to create the workflows and the agents.
Okay.
So that's what I'm using there.
Junior reps, salary or hourly?
What do you mean by junior reps?
People on your lower level staff.
I don't call anybody lower level staff. Everybody's vitally important in my business, but
in the form of a hierarchy.
But when I talk about non-decision makers versus decision makers, and then decision makers versus key man, so that's kind of how we.
Key man is C-suite. Decision makers, middle level.
Managers, directors, and then everyone else. So,
non-decision makers. Okay.
Non-decision makers, and so I personally am a salary person. I go by deliverables though. So you get a salary, and then we have a lot of incentives to earn a lot more. And actually, if you're not earning a lot more, it's a red flag, and I usually remove you pretty quickly.
Are they salary or are they hourly? Non-decision makers.
Everybody's salary.
Everyone's salary.
For me, everybody's salary.
Plus the deliverable, or the salary equals certain deliverables.
Salary equals pay periods.
Of course.
In order to retain that job, you have deliverables that you must hit every pay period.
With specific results? Or
it depends on the role.
Okay.
So if it's a customer service agent, they have different, I call them KPIs, but yeah, they have different KPIs than, say, someone who's putting out fires. I have a guy that his whole job, his whole life is, where's the fire and how do I put it out so that it never sparks again? So his are very, very different.
What's an example of their KPIs?
It depends on the client we're working on. So for example, his KPI could be, one of his KPIs right now is how much overtime he's working. That
He's
seems ridiculous. That
he's
seems ridiculous,
okay.
doesn't it? But if he's being proactive, he was doing like 50 hours, 60 hours a week. But if
Okay.
he's being proactive, he's not needing to work and I know that. If he's looking at things strategically and saying, this is what we got coming out this week, this is what I know is going to go wrong. And if he's taking the time to do that, he will not need to work more than 45 hours. If he's not taking that time to think through things, then it's going to be 50, 55, 60 hours. So that's his KPI for right now.
Okay.
But another week, it could be how many customers he got on a call with. If it's a big chargeback issue, I want him calling customers that refunded because I want to know why they refunded. Because
Okay.
that's why the chargebacks are there. So it kind of depends on the project we're working on at the time.
KPI review, weekly, monthly, or quarterly?
Depends on the role. So non-decision makers, weekly. They live week to week. They're also dopamine needs to be given to them week to week. People who are non-decision makers, they're not getting the dopamine of responsibility. You have a dopamine of responsibility. If you weren't getting these hits of
I've
dopamine.
never heard of that. Dopamine of responsibility.
Absolutely.
Okay.
How much are you responsible for in this
A
life?
lot.
A lot.
A lot.
And when you do well, how does it hit you?
Well.
Motivates
I'm
the hell out of you,
I'm
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So they don't have that. So they need dopamine of affirmations. So, and I don't mean by affirmations like you is smart, you is beautiful. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just, hey, I heard how you dealt with this customer on this call, and I think you did a really good job. I'm really proud of you. No need for the feedback of the bad stuff.
So who's monthly, who's quarterly?
So quarterly is going to be my people who get the ability to get the dopamine hits of responsibility. I only need to meet with them. So let me back up. So my decision makers that are doing middle level decisions, so anything for the here and now, those people are monthly. The people who are like C-suite, they're a CFO or they're a CMO, I'm going to meet with them quarterly because their downline and the people that they get to give dopamine hits to,
but they're meeting with them weekly.
So these people are meeting with these people. These people, I'm not meeting with everybody.
Yeah.
I'm responsible for like 619 people.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not doing that. But, you know, our C-suite executives are meeting with the people who are directors under them. The directors are meeting with the managers. The managers are meeting with the non-decision makers. And everybody is responsible for mentorship to the person that that's reporting to them. And we're very serious about that because when you have a plan and a path for increased revenue, but not a plan and a path to increase your employees' capabilities, working for a $10 million company is very different than a $50 million company. $50 million is very different than $100 million. $100 million is astronomically different from $500 million, right? So if I'm trying to hit 50 million, but we're doing 2, I got to get those people ready for it because turnover is expensive.
Does every role have opportunity to increase their salary or their income?
Yes.
I was listening to Grant Cardone and he had made a comment that like even the accountant has a KPI to generate more revenue.
Yeah. I needed to think about it, but yeah.
So every role has the opportunity to make more money. Now, is it revenue driven? Is it KPI driven? Is it bringing in outside revenue? Is it retention driven?
It really depends on the role, right? Like some people it's going to be profit. Okay. Some people it's going to be revenue. Some people it's going to be effectiveness and efficiency that decreases labor, which increases profit. So, or increases capability of the team. So everybody has a responsibility, but they also have to be able to benefit from the company's increase as well. Does that make sense? So everything that is
that the company can do more with no more resources.
Right.
You're the author of Scope.
I am.
It's a proven framework. Share with us the number one key aspect of that book that a business owner today, my audience is 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs, that they can take to start implementing inside of their business and start organizing themselves.
So Scope is a framework.
Yes.
It starts with a foundational framework, which is what we were talking about, how to make sure someone doesn't need to come and untangle what you created at 100,000, 500,000, $1 million. And then teaches you how to grow it in a way that doesn't create constant chaos and fires. And so it's hard to put it in like one thing, but taking the framework, understanding it, and it's very specific. I will say it's very specific to online remote teams, online sellers with remote teams. You can form it in different ways for
which
different
majority
businesses.
of my audience is digital entrepreneurs.
Okay,
Coaches,
so
consultants, agencies.
Perfect for them. Perfect for them, because how many of us have, I'm gonna throw my team out there. A guy in the UK handling the marketing, a guy in Mauritius, Africa handling all the tech, a dude in Montenegro doing all of our automations, right? So I've got all these people in all these different time zones. We function like a body. And so how do you do that? How do you make that all happen? I don't allow negative things in my business, negative words. Even though you have to talk about negative things, you don't have to make it a trauma dump every time. And so understanding how we all move together and become one body is just by implementing a framework.
What is the framework?
The framework is scope. So it's setting your vision.
Okay,
That's going to be
number one is setting the vision.
Foundational framework, setting your vision. And how I get it counted out in my head. C is core processes, understanding that you need core processes and that you have to have those to start off with.
Let me ask you this. Mm-hmm. The difference between core process and a non-core process.
Sure. So a core process is a basic, very, very basic. Every business is very basic. Here's how we handle customer service calls. Here's how we handle refunds. Here's how we handle reordering our supplements. Here's how we handle the management of our merchant accounts. Here's how we handle payroll, right? Everybody needs a core set of processes. A non-core process is something very intricate, like we use wasabi extract. Wasabi extract has been recalled 7 times in the past 3 years, causing massive delays. Someone has to have a process to check this every 3 days and make sure it's not on a recall list.
Got it. Okay.
Makes sense?
Yeah,
so there's nuance and then there's core. So core processes, you need those.
Setting the vision, core processes. Let me take you back real quick on the S. Setting the vision. Is it possible that somebody who should be an integrator is actually running the business and they think that they're the visionary without having a clear vision?
All the time.
So like, meaning pretty much they go from C, O, P, E, and we'll define the rest, but they follow everything after setting the vision, but they don't have a clear vision.
You have to have a clear vision. But there are tons of people who do that, for sure.
Okay.
Or far more than that. By the way, an operator can run a business all day, every day. An operator with a shitty vision, with an unclear vision and a shitty product will make more money than a visionary who has a vision and no operations.
Say that one more time.
Sure. An operator, operator, executor, same difference.
Okay.
Same thing. Integrator, executor, same thing.
Yep.
That has a shitty product and a unclear vision will make more money than a visionary with no operations every time because there's no execution.
Just a clear vision.
A clear vision
is no value.
Unless you have execution. But
now, is it possible for it to set a vision? Entrepreneur watching this sets a vision. They're taking action. They're quote unquote the action taker. They're generating revenue.
99% of visionary entrepreneurs are action takers, at least at the beginning.
Okay.
They have low follow through, but they're all quick starts. So that's how you end up with these products that are doing like 3 million, but the merchant accounts are all screwed up and they're about to get match listed. They're doing 3 million, but they're spending 3.1 and they're robbing Peter to pay Paul every day. The manufacturers never get the PO in time to get it out there. So they've got these flags on their sales pages saying, Big Pharma took us down for 7 days. We'll be back. Right. So that's what I'm talking about there. Right.
So they're taking action. They're generating revenue, but it's not sustainable.
It's not clean.
It's not sustainable. All right.
It's not scalable.
Setting the vision. It's not scalable. So really what I'm hearing is the operator creates scalability.
Scalability, profitability, yes.
Setting the vision, core processes. All right, let's go to O.
Operational excellence. Operational excellence allows you to scale. Operational excellence, I'm just going to answer the question I know you're going to ask. Operational excellence is functioning without blinders on. It's looking at every single core piece of the business and understanding where things could break. And instead of putting duct tape on it so we can keep running, we're filling the cracks properly with concrete before we move on. That's operational excellence.
The picture that I'm imagining, if I were to be AI And as we know, AI has its own mind of or own interpretation. So if I were to listen to this conversation and I were to paint a picture, it seems to me that the operator is the person who has the reins, and everyone in the company is following suit of the operator that is creating all these processes. The only one that's free is the visionary.
Yes.
Because like I'm imagining, and it's hard to put a picture up, but it's like this visionary at top is like lollygagging, doing his thing. It just happens to create money, and everyone else is in order, organized, has streamlined, has SOPs, but the visionary is not going to be the one to follow.
I wouldn't say they're all organized. You're going to have marketing that's a little dirty, a little messy,
Okay.
a little unorganized, but you're going to have somebody in there who's an operator, who's running operations. It's usually like a director of marketing. If you've seen like really, really, really big companies, the director of marketing usually sucks at marketing. They're really good at project management.
Mm-hmm.
So do you know what I'm talking? Like
Mm-hmm.
you can probably think of 3 people from the largest marketing agencies, and you just is that person a director?
You know, it's starting to make sense actually.
Yeah,
Starting to
that
make sense,
person
yeah.
is really good at sitting these people down, getting them to put their beautiful ideas all over the place, and then organizing and packaging them, even though they have no clue
So
how to what's the hierarchy of a split test? Here's the spreadsheet. Like that's all they can do.
Yeah.
But if without them, it would just be a bunch of pages everywhere.
It's like, does the director of customer success or customer service have bad people skills?
Usually. Oddly enough. I would say that I am really, really, really good at creating strategy for customer experience. You do not want to get me on the phone and start yelling at me. I am going to tell you to fuck off, and I'm going to refund your money every time. So
That is so interesting.
The person that has to manage all of the people on the floor and all of the crap is usually a hard-ass person. They're not someone going, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry, Miss Elena, that you got a flat tire. I'm just like, why are you telling me that? What do you want from me? I need to get off the call.
Yeah.
What do you want? But the people who do the best job on the phone are people who are like, oh, tell me more. I want to talk to you. I don't want to talk to you about your flat tire, lady. What do you want? What do you want? I didn't hear a question here.
Yeah. That is so interesting. So it gives confidence to someone who may have someone who is in a receipt that they're a director, but they don't have the skill as a non-decision maker. I'll call them a level 1 in certain roles.
Sure.
But they're in the hierarchy chart. They're lower on the totem pole in the hierarchy chart. That a director may not have the same skill set, but they're the leader of that because they have other skill sets.
I don't have a skill set of anyone I lead. I have no skill set. My skill set is getting people at the table to do things. That's the only thing I know how to do. I couldn't send an email in an ESP. I wouldn't even know how to log in. But I'm responsible for
deliverability,
multi-million dollars in email.
Yeah.
Because I am the direct person that the person who runs that reports to.
Yeah.
Of some of the biggest email lists in our space, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how to log into an ESP. I wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah.
I know how to manage.
Right.
And I know how to
ESP
motivate.
Is email service provider, by the way.
If they're doing 6 or 7 figures and they don't know that, dun dun dun. But you might be a visionary.
Yeah, that too.
But yeah.
Okay. And then, so operational excellence, P.
People development, the one so many of us miss out on. And so when you have tribal knowledge, there is nothing that replaces that, in my opinion, nothing.
Last year, I discovered what tribal knowledge is. That is wild that you use that word because I've never heard of that before.
That's an operator word.
Is it really?
It is.
Okay. So I've been studying operations. So tell us what tribal knowledge is.
Tribal knowledge is the information that your business holds that isn't used anymore, but in practice it is. So for example, Richard Parkin, he's my CMO. He is probably the best hire I've ever made in my life. He's been with me every year, Shockwave. I want to say he was hired 6-7 months after I started the business. And so he knows things like, we don't ever take a client without reviewing their financials, which seems like a huge waste of time in the sales process. We never take a client without reviewing their financials because people will come to you and lie, and they can't afford you, or they can't afford the strategy that you put in place, and it's all going to crash and burn in 30 days. And I don't want to deal with that. So we put certain parameters in place so we never have to deal with that. How do I know that? Because a client did it to us. They said that they had tons of money. They didn't. We ended up getting a phone call from them about 20 days into the exact plan that we had created with them, saying, I can't pay my mortgage. What do I do? And so we just put parameters around things. Or, for example,
the tribal knowledge would mean that that process isn't documented, but he knows that you have to do it.
It's things that can't be documented. It's the why behind the things. Like, the process is absolutely documented, but why do we do it that way? That would never be documented. Like, one day this woman called us, and like, you wouldn't put that whole story down. He understands the why behind the process that is documented. So when someone says, I have a better idea, this doesn't make sense, we spend so much time on this, they tell us how much money they're making. Why do we need to calculate it?
To address that, would it be valuable to add in the SOP documentation of why it is, such as a story?
I mean, you'd be probably having hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages, causing people to never read your SOPs. The least amount of information to get the task done is what you want in your SOPs. The tribal knowledge is what you want to try and create with amongst your people.
Seniority, like tribal knowledge will be created with seniority?
I mean, I use seniority as a different word, actually. You're probably using it as how long they've been there.
Or tenureship.
Yeah, tenureship's a good word.
Tenureship, yeah.
Tenureship's a good year. That word that comes with when people are saying, I want to change this SOP to this, and it sounds like a really good idea, Richard can step up and say, we've done that. Here's what happened when we did it that way. And while on the surface that seems really smart, this is the outcome we had, and it ended up costing us big time.
So there's a tremendous amount of value to retain people, to go through the ups and the downs with
that.
them.
Is reason number one. Reason number two is, do you know how much it costs to replace, how much it costs you to replace a middle-level manager in your business? Let's say a customer service manager, an email account manager.
How much?
200% of their annual salary. That's how much.
Their first year?
That's how much it costs you to replace, just to replace them. 200% of their annual salary, on average.
Is it hard cost? Is it down to the EBITDA? That's where the cost is?
The cost comes from opportunity lost, time lost from you, time lost from other people having to step in. It's overall to your business. And there are lots of statistics on this. Is it an exact science? No, of course not. But on average, it's going to cost you 200%. For a customer service person, it's 50 to 70% of their annual salary.
Do you train then? Because if you have someone who's underperforming, are you training then? Because you know in the back of your head, hey, it's going to cost me double the annual salary. I'm going to put more time and effort into training, or do I just replace and move on?
There's 3 elements to this. Number one is have a really good hiring process that not only looks at skill, but looks at personality, looks at culture fit, and looks at willingness and ability to learn. I'm sure you've heard this 100 times, hire slow, fire fast.
Mm-hmm.
That's step one. Step two is training, onboarding is everything. If they're not doing much and they're sitting around, even if they're a hard worker, you know what happens? They're not going to do much and they're going to sit around.
Yeah.
So you want their training and their onboarding process to be really, really intense, actually. And then the third thing is development. And it isn't, here's the thing about people. If you want really good people, you need to develop them for their business, but you need to develop them for what they want to. We have a thing in our business, which is what's your biggest dream? And every year, everybody comes up with one thing that's their biggest dream. So Saka, I was talking about him earlier.
Yeah.
His biggest dream is to someday own his own agency. He wants to own his own marketing agency. Half the world would immediately be like, you're never going to be a business owner. Well, you want to be a business owner? Why am I going to invest in you? I'm not going to invest in you.
Yeah.
I have given him everything I can possibly give him to create somebody who can go start an agency. And then we actually have another company called Tidal Wave Media that is a marketing agency. I said, hey, you want to go 50-50 with me on a product? I'd love to make you a partner over here on this product. So guess what we're doing? We're launching a product. And do you know how much work he puts in to learn these things, which do what?
Grow your first business.
It grows my first business.
Yeah.
It grows my second business. And it grows him.
Yeah.
And he's happy.
It's a win-win.
And when my people are happy, you know what I am?
Happy.
Happy.
And another person would have said, I don't want to train up a business owner who's going to leave me one day.
Oh, stupid.
Yeah.
I don't want to not train someone who's going to stay. I think
Yeah.
Steve Jobs said that, actually.
Mm-hmm.
That isn't an Emma original. So, I mean, if you're going to leave, no problem. Let me get the best out of you while you're here. And let me impact the world a little bit by leaving you a little bit better off. People give you 1/3 of their life, man. Like, if you're going to employ them, they give you 1/3.
I 100% agree.
To inject your vision into the world.
Yeah.
Why is it so terrible to leave them better too?
Is it valuable if, as you were explaining the visionaries' vision, that all the people within the company should be able to experience their vision within the visionaries' vision? Is that valuable?
That's a touchy subject, actually. The right people will create their own vision for their department that aligns perfectly with the visionary. You got to be really careful about that. Number one, you don't want visionaries competing in their own company. Does that make sense? Number two, it can be very, very, very wonderful or very awful. So I'll give you an example. You let a director of marketing create the vision for their department. And you say, okay, like, here you go. Here's the vision. Everybody in the business should know the vision, understand the vision, have heard the vision. The amount of times that I've heard, I have a vision, it's clear as day. And it's like, no. When I go ask people what the vision is, they say things like make money, sell health supplements. They have no idea what the vision is. They have no idea where you're trying to go. What are you guys trying to do? Make money. If your people say make money, you've fucked it all up. You did it all wrong. And so, but back to what you were asking, if this marketing person isn't truly aligned or has their own agenda or their own drive, and it steers too much away from the visionary, now the whole purpose of having this beautiful vision that's well documented and well understood is so that everybody's rowing all in the same direction in their canoes in this big lake where nobody can see each other. But now you've got people rowing in this direction and this department's rowing in that direction, and their priorities don't quite line up with their priorities. So I think it's important. What I think is really important is that you take the visionary's vision and you take 10 years, where are we trying to go? 3-5 years, what are the milestones we need to be at to hit that 10 years? And then what are our commitments this year? And that's all done by your visionary and your integrator. And then you go to the team and you say, here are commitments for this year. No matter what, this is what we're going to accomplish. How do we break these down quarterly that move us closer and closer to this ultimate goal of 10 years, but to get these commitments checked off the list? And you let them create that.
Yeah, their way.
Their way of doing that. Sometimes you have to course correct a little bit.
Yeah, of course.
But when they own it and they're so bought in that way, like, man, when we knock a commitment off halfway through the year instead of at the end of the year, like, people are excited.
Yeah.
They don't get anything extra for it. They get things extra when we make money, don't get me wrong, but it's not like, oh, you checked something off the list, here's some money. It's not like that. It's this dopamine rush that they get, that they've accomplished something and they've done something. And then it also creates this beautiful team synergy because they're battle buddies. They're wounded together now.
That's people development. E.
Execution, the part most people miss. Have a way of executing. I want to launch a product. Let's launch a product. Everybody goes off into corners and everything's all screwed up. The trademarks don't get filed. Marketing has a bunch of bonuses that never got created from product development because they didn't know about it. Customer service had no idea what you were delivering or when you were launching, so they're not prepared for the hit of the launch. And so it's just like this catechism of nonsense because we don't often create execution plans on our vision. And so what I was just talking about, 10, 5, 3, 1, and then the quarterlies. And then, okay, here, Andre, go do this.
So 10-year vision, 5-year vision.
We call it a 10-year target.
10-year target.
We're just, what are we targeting? 3 and 5 year, I call them flash forwards because I was high when I wrote it, but it's actually just milestones. And then 1 year commitments because I hate the word goals. Goals are something we're trying to do. I'm trying to lose 5 pounds.
And what's quarterly?
Quarterly is just quarterly goals. They're just quarterly goals.
That are towards the 1 year.
That are towards the 1 year.
Okay.
But then we have something called a breaker. And the breaker is 90 minutes, depending on your business and how ambitious those commitments are and those goals are. We may meet weekly. We may meet bi-weekly. At Shockwave, we meet weekly because mine are pretty ambitious.
Yeah.
And so we're taking a break. And so I call it a breaker. We're taking a break from working in the business to on the business. We're all going to come together. And instead of calling it a to-do list, because I think that's boring and dumb, I call it a mover list. What have we moved on this week, executed on this week that got us closer to our ultimate goals for the quarter? And then what are our signals? Again, I hate negative words. So people have like problems, or sometimes they call them issues, or I don't like that. I ain't got no issues and I ain't got no problems, and neither do you. We have things everybody's going to look at and everybody's going to proactively take care of before it becomes a problem or an issue. But what are the things everybody needs to be signaled to?
Okay. Signals are all quote unquote negative.
Things that we need to look at, challenges
to overcome.
opportunities
to overcome.
And it could be that you're out.
Which I acknowledge the fact that you're present to your words.
You may be out next week. That could be very challenging to the team. That would go on the signals list. Everybody needs to be aware that you're going to be out next week and that we need to make sure that your stuff is covered. It might be a really big challenge, like our chargebacks are 9% and we're about to get shut down.
9% chargeback, man. That's a big issue. That's a big
signal.
That's
I've made a lot of money off of people having 9% chargebacks. But
Stripe will call you directly and say, well, they'll send you an email. Well, regardless.
Fortunately, none of our clients are like that.
Okay.
They come to us like that.
They come to
us like that. Sometimes. But I mean, you get the point.
Yeah,
it's things that we all need to come together and brainstorm. And something might be, and this is where the tribal knowledge comes in too. Something might be so obvious to Richard, who's been around for 6 years, that Tiago's only been here for a year and a half, might go, I have no idea why we have all these chargebacks. And Richard could look at it in 3 seconds and go, I've seen this before. This is what affiliate fraud looks like. That's where that tribal knowledge comes in. And when we come together, like things,
that is what you just said was enough, right?
Yeah.
I've seen this before. That's affiliate fraud.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay.
So, I mean, that's the ultimate nutshell of execution. We also have like some things in execution, like visionary entrepreneurs love reaching out with every thought. You'll get a text message, you'll get a Slack message, there'll be a Facebook meme that comes, Perry Belcher, damn it. There'll be a reel that hits via Telegram. Now I've got a Discord. Like, how many platforms do you have to contact me? We don't play those games. So it's very, 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 very structured. Things that are the day-to-day that you need answers on go into Slack. Everything should have a direct derivative to a project, which is in ClickUp, and that ClickUp task should be linked in that Slack message, or it's just a question. Slack gets answered by end of day. I'm not going to break my concentration. This is such a foolish thing visionaries do. People are not multitaskers. They're single taskers. 2% of the population, 2% can multitask effectively. You don't want your people multitasking, watching Slack for your nonstop messages of nonsense.
I'm starting to get triggered.
I'll rumble with you. Let's go.
I'm starting to get triggered.
But letting your people have deep, concentrated work will be so much better for you. Whatever you need in this moment, you can calm your inner child down and chill out because your people will get to it. I've taught my people to check in the morning, check mid-morning, check in the afternoon before you go to lunch, check after lunch, check before you log off. I'll be honest, I check all day because I'm so worried that I'm going to send $10,000 on this. Unless you let me know in the next 5 minutes. Go. So I watch mine constantly, but my God, the work I could get done if I wasn't doing that. So Slack is our day-to-day. Anything that's project-based that's not doesn't need to be answered today is in ClickUp. Non-client, non-internal communications with vendors or what have you, that 24-hour turnaround is fine, is going to be email. And there are no other forms of communication in our business. If you're messaging me on Facebook, it better be because you're drunk at 2 o'clock in the morning and want to share a funny reel. Do not send me business things over Instagram, over nonsense. Like, things need to be organized because most of us, by the way, most integrators are not organized either. We wouldn't be able to keep up with you. So everything needs to be formatted in an organized way because the people who thrive the best in this industry, in this space, in this visionary integrator relationship are chaotic, crazy people anyway. I have 5,000 thoughts a second too. It's just yin yang to you.
2 more points.
Sure.
I was with Grant Cardone in Miami.
Love him.
I was asking him about how valuable is EBITDA because everything he was telling me was all about top line. And I started to ask him, okay, let me ask you this question first. Is the KPI for an operator, one of the KPIs, EBITDA?
So I will tell you what I think, and then I will tell you how it normally is in our industry. I think that a KPI for a COO should be EBITDA. I think it should be. I think if it is, your business is profitable, it's effective, it's efficient, it's running off operational excellence.
Yes.
And every business should be exitable momentarily because the visionary is usually the person that it all surrounds. And if they died, what happens?
Yeah.
Think about that for 90% of the businesses we work in. So in order to save their wife, their kids, EBITDA should be. In our space, it almost never is. Most people have no idea what EBITDA stands for, let alone what their EBITDA in their business is. Most people don't know their profit margin or their revenue numbers. It's like, I think, yes, people, their CLTVs or their AOVs, they know one number.
Top line revenue.
Top line revenue or conversion rate.
So when I asked him that question, and
I'm so excited to hear the answer.
He's like, I don't know. He doesn't want to get involved in anything. Although he studied accounting, went to college for accounting. He's like, I don't want to get involved anything underneath top line. On the P&L, I don't want to get involved. If anything, I want to increase the amount.
But you asked him the operator, should the operator, or you said him?
No, I was asking him. I was asking for him.
That makes sense to me.
My question was to you if the KPI should be for the operator.
Yes.
But the question is, when working with a visionary.
Shouldn't be. Neither should profit. They shouldn't even care about it. You let me worry about that. That's my job. Your job is to dream. Your job is to push me to things that I don't feel comfortable doing. Your job is to be a risk taker and a money maker. My job is to keep the money and keep us out of jail. And how can you do that if you're worried about freaking EBITDA?
Yeah.
You let me worry about that. But if you don't have a me, you need to be worried about that.
That leads me to the last point. Where do we get the operator? Business owner, and at what stage? Oh, I guess more than one question.
Yeah.
Where do we get the
Let's go into the second hour.
Where do we get the operator?
Sure. This is a question that I've gotten a lot.
Because you just said 5% is visionaries.
True visionaries make up 5% of the population. True integrators make up 2.5. The reality
we're fighting. We're fighting for the integrators.
But not every integrator is for every visionary. So you actually probably have about 0.5% that's going to be a fit to you, which is even worse, right? So not every single person, not every single visionary needs a true integrator. The Walt Disneys, the Steve Jobs, they needed true integrators. Trying to also, a lot of entrepreneurs think they're visionaries and they're just business owner entrepreneurs. I'm just saying. So, if you don't have dreams so big, it makes other people scared for your mental health. You're probably not a visionary. I'm just saying. If you have big dreams, you're probably an entrepreneur. If you have a high risk tolerance, you're probably an entrepreneur. If nothing scares you, you're probably a visionary. It's just, anyway. So how do you find someone that can fit that integrator operations role? Not necessarily an integrator, but someone that can fit that role. You want someone who is, you said where, but I'm going to answer it how I want because I think it's better. You want someone who believes in your vision and you as much as you do. Because it's a hard life out here, man. And so if they're not excited about what you're trying to provide the world and they're just using, they're just plugging things in to get a paycheck, it's just not going to work. So you want to say to them, what excites you? You want to lay the vision out and you want, what excites you about this vision?
That's step one.
That's you have to understand your vision first, by the way. But yes, that's step one. To find that person that you're even asking, though, I think that there's a bunch of different ways. If you're specifically in direct response, One of the best ways that I have found operators is affiliate managers. There are so many out there, and there's just not a need for them anymore with AI, or there's a lot less of a need for them. But you know what they understand?
Revenue.
The numbers.
Mm-hmm.
They understand the revenue. They also, you know what they have to really deeply understand is the profit margin on how much I can pay these people.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them, if they've been trained well, understand CLTV, which is customer lifetime value, AOV, average order value. They understand that the products cost X amount of dollars to deliver during delivery. But at month 6, this is what the products make us. And they know it by affiliate.
Mm-hmm.
So the data that they understand will really help them do the job of growing the business, because the hardest part is teaching someone the numbers. The next thing that they understand is relationships. And integrators have to have the ability to create relationships with people. I told you 10 times during this talk, during this podcast, I don't know how to do anything. I know how to sit people at a table and motivate them to solve problems, to communicate, to talk. Affiliate, nobody can do that like an affiliate manager. Their whole job is creating relationships and getting people to work together on different tasks. The other thing that they know really well is project management, whether they know it or not, because they're stuck dealing with the worst people in the world to deal with is, can I get the swipes? And it's always in the freaking email thread where you gave them the swipes 3 emails above. They just didn't scroll up, right? Yes, happily, I'll do this. So they got this bit of customer service, this bit of, leadership, this bit of organization. And so I love going into affiliate manager groups, trying to find jobs and hiring them is, I'll use your words, lower level, but I'll call it non-decision making, operations roles, and testing them out and building them up from there. That's where I've gotten a lot of the people that have become directors in my companies. That's where a lot of them have come from, because they're just so damn smart.
Okay. Yes. That's amazing.
Yeah. So I don't like hiring operators because I'm a stubborn person. Tell me how to do something. Go ahead. I dare you. Right. So we know how to do things. So we don't want to be told what to do. You know what younger visionaries want to do?
What?
Tell people how to do things.
Of course.
Right.
But then like someone who is quote unquote lower level or non-decision maker roles in another company, when they get the opportunity, it sounds like in your company and you get to build them up, that they'll perform very well as
Can you say the first part again? In someone else's I don't hire people I don't poach.
No, not poaching. Because
I'm looking for...
They were an affiliate manager at a different company.
I'm looking for affiliate managers with affiliate manager experience who need a job, because there's a pool of them right now.
Yes, of course.
I don't like poaching because they'll jump ship for the first person that can pay them $5 more.
Of course, yeah.
So that's just my own personal thing. But they have experience
from another company.
But they have experience from another company.
They're moving them into your company.
They're an experienced affiliate manager looking for a role, and there's only about 5,000 of them right now.
And then when they get brought in, one of the KPIs should be EBITDA.
When they get brought in, their first role should be like heavy project management and helping you organize your big ideas.
Okay.
Over time, they should earn that director level, COO level. In our industry, COOs are called COOs that are bros from high school that don't even understand what operations is. Mm-hmm. So I use that term super loosely. But you want to bring them into a director level where if you think about your executive assistant that can make some decisions for you, multiply her times 10. And when she can really make some of those bigger decisions that have to do with money, that have to do with letting people go, that have to do with hiring people and adding salary that you don't have to touch, then you can call them a director. That's when you give them EBITDA.
Got it. What's the time frame typically to go from non-decision maker to, hey, you were an affiliate manager a year and a half ago, and you have experience. I'm bringing you in. You left that industry or you left that company or they fired, whatever. You left that. I'm bringing you in to go from non-decision maker to director. Time frame.
So a baby, some of them walk at 9 months, some of them walk at 18 months. I can't answer that, just like I can't answer what day is my baby going to walk. It's going to depend on the person, how much experience you're able to give them. If
Is it realistically 6 months? Is it realistically a year?
I can't answer that. So if your revenue is $600,000, they're not seeing much. They're not learning much. They're not getting a ton of experience. If your revenue is 7 million, they're looking at a whole freaking bunch of stuff, and they could probably easily 3 to 6 months be there. If you can get them a mentor, 3 to 6 months, all day. Right. Okay. But if you don't have a mentor for them, or they don't have the ability to have the experience, then it depends on how much of a mess did you make. So when I came into this industry, I came in with a guy who was in dating. He was one of the most brilliant people I've ever worked with. Batshit crazy, but brilliant people I've ever worked with. He had like a $560,000 dating business. He launched some supplement offers, and we turned that into $7 million in like a year. And so the experience I got from here to here,
different. Yeah.
I mean,
9 day.
I didn't know what a merchant account was when I stepped in the door.
Yeah.
A year later, I was serving on panels, speaking at conferences because of all of the crap that I had to swim through from creating merchant accounts. Then he moves to Puerto Rico with no plan, didn't know that the merchant accounts wouldn't work there. And like all of that's how I met Travis, and all the things that we had to like fix.
Yeah. He
created so much chaos. That chaos brought in a lot of money.
Yeah.
He's really freaking smart, but he's really great at making trash messes, and I was really good at cleaning them up. And so the experience that I got was like, I would have worked a decade at a company doing 2 million, where the visionary knew what he was doing as a businessman. This man knew what he was doing as a marketer.
And you sped up your learning curve.
Oh,
because of that.
Exponentially.
Your point is taken, and I understand.
Yeah.
Now I understand.
But if you get them a mentor, if you go and get them a mentor, a COO mentorship program, it's not very costly, and 3 to 6 months all day, every day.
Where's that at?
You can do, I have one, but there's also other people that have them. I have one. Cameron Harold has one. Dee Braun has one. So there's plenty of them out there.
COO mentorship.
COO mentorship. Absolutely.
So there's 2 points that you're making throughout the podcast. You communicate Shockwave as a fractional COO, is my understanding here. Is that correct? Because you have multiple clients.
Yep.
Then we just communicated about one scenario of taking an affiliate manager, raising them up to director.
Shockwave's a little bit different than most fractional agencies. I'll just throw this little caveat in there because I love that.
Let us know.
We have an operations team. So when I first became a fractional COO, I would come tell you what to do. You couldn't do it. You'd walk in circles chasing your tail, and you had the same problems you had before. So I created a team of absolute assassins of director of operations. So when I come in and I say, we need to do this, and we need to do that, and we need to do that, and you go, okay, Emma, cool. Let me know how it went.
Who's going to do it?
My team.
Exactly. Okay.
So I don't tell you to go figure it out magically. Like, let's, this big problem you had, I'm going to tell you how to fix it. It's going to magically disappear. The reality is you knew how to fix the problem. You just didn't know how to push the button, just like I don't. I put the team in that knows how to push all the buttons.
Is the team members assigned to one account?
Kind of depends. So I got a tech guy works on 2 to 3 different accounts at a time.
Makes sense.
So we're fractional, but you feel like we're full time because I've got a guy that's brilliant at marketing. We all specialize in something. Remember we talked at the top of the podcast about specialties and how you don't want to just move around?
Yeah.
Richard is phenomenal at marketing. So if a client isn't doing well on conversion rate optimization, or they're not doing well on email, or something is lagging in the marketing space, Richard's going to be the primary person that deals with that. But he's going to help Tiago, and he's going to help Batar, and he's going to help Boris on their accounts as they need advice dealing with marketing. And then Saka, who is like marketing tech genius, absolutely brilliant. If Richard's like, man, we're just paying a lot of money on services, Saka will go in and go, don't do that, do this, don't do that. So it's like this round table of experts in their own thing in operations that just help each other out all the time.
But there's 2 routes. As an entrepreneur, it seems like I'm at a fork in the road. Okay. Option 1, based off this episode, option 1, I hire 100% internally. I can recruit, train, develop, and ascend that person from non-decision maker to director to one day COO. Takes time. There's option 2. I can go fractional. How do I know which route to take?
I think it depends on you and how hands-on you like. You bring in Shockwave or a company like Shockwaves. I'm a blue ocean, by the way. You can only call me. But nobody else has an operations team. I'm just saying. And if they do, they're a bunch of people in the Philippines. And nothing against people in the Philippines, but when you're paying $4 an hour to people, they're not going to be able to function at high director levels. It just doesn't work. But if you want to be hands-off and you are okay with the price tag, then I would go fractional, someone who knows what they're doing and can help lead with you. If you're in the low 7 figures, I would build my own team. There's no reason to pay that price tag. You don't have the money to pay it. It doesn't make sense to pay it. Start with, go find yourself. Everybody always wants to go marketing. You can own marketing. You clearly have marketing skills because you're at 6 or 7 figures and you don't have a team. So you hold marketing, get rid of the thing that's going to burn your candle and take your energy first. And that's going to be the operations and the chaos and the fires and the bullshit, right? So get that operator in and then let them build the team around you. If you're in that lower stage and you have the ability to slow down enough to bring that one person on, and that's what the first guy I worked for, he just taught me, he didn't want to deal with anything. He hired me and he just saw that if he hired me, he never had to do anything again. So he just taught me everything. I didn't know what a split test was. I was running multivariate split tests to this day. Like I do crazy things with split tests. You would never think an operator would be involved in. And I know so much about it because he just knew he needed to dump his knowledge. He needed to do a knowledge dump. And then he could live in where he wanted to live in the company, which was vision and writing VSLs and cranking out offers that brought in a lot of money. And I lived where I lived. If I couldn't figure out how to do something, I figured out how to hire someone who did. And it was just this beautiful mess.
So I'm hearing 2 things, based on revenue and based on how much involvement you want.
If you don't have any money to pay a fractional person, don't buy a fractional person. So you need someone who's going to know your business. Most fractional people won't even know what you're selling 6 months in. They're giving you high-level advice without truly I hate fractional, by the way. I have a fractional agency, but I hate fractional. Every single person that's on my roster, I know what they sell. I intimately understand their messaging. I intimately understand their mechanism. I intimately understand their big idea. I intimately understand their demographic. I know the challenges in the business. I know our biggest opportunities for improvement in the business. And everyone in my company does too. Everyone, even the people not working on that client.
Is it to the point that it's one visionary, high top line revenue, so they're able to afford it, but it's one visionary and just you? Is it like visionary, their EA, and just your company that runs the business?
That's a plethora of our clients, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
So they don't have any internal people. It's like them, their EA, and then you guys run everything.
It depends on how big they are.
Okay.
So like Perry has 19 companies. And then he's got like 10, 15 people working for him that we manage, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he has a whole marketing division, right, that Richard manages. He has a whole tech division that Russell does education, that Saka manages. And then Russell's his employee, but he manages like all the education. So it just depends. I'll say this, if you're in the 6-7 figure space, you really probably want to hire that first hire or that next hire as someone who can come in and run the operations of your business, and think of it as a high-level decision-making project manager. That'll be the best bang for your buck because they'll be able to hire other people, they'll be able to train other people, and they'll be able to make, those decisions you don't want to make because they're just not important enough, but they have to be made. So it ends up this massive task list that takes up toll in your brain every day.
Yeah.
Imagine if you could just hand that to someone else for $60,000 a year. Yep. That's what we're talking about here.
Yep.
Do that. But if you're making $100,000, you probably can't do that yet, right?
Right.
So you have to have common sense on what you're bringing in.
I love it. Mic drop. It's been a pleasure to have you on the episode of the Audate show. Where can people learn more about you?
Emma Rainville. I'm on all the socials, I guess. Somebody post there.
You're going to learn more in the description about Emma's business. And if you love content like this, where we dive deep into business operations and scaling your agency, Be sure to click subscribe, like this video, and comment and let us know what you learned from Emma. It's been a pleasure to have you. Be sure to like this video, comment, and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.